Good morning, everyone. My name is Ritika Chopra. I am a student of BA Political Science Honours second year. My roll number is 95. I am here with the topic Powers and Rules of Member of Parliament and Members of Legislative Assembly. So, let's get started. So, the PPT is here, powers and roles of members of parliament and member of legislative assembly. So I'll illustrate who are members of legislative assembly. The members of legislative assembly, MLAs, are the person who form and run the government of a particular state. MLAs attend the assembly in their respective states and discuss the matter relating to the problems the people are facing in their constituency. So basically, MLAs work in their specific region. They belong to a government which is run in a state. They play a very vital role in decision taken by the government in matters of agriculture, public health, local government, etc. So now I will illustrate about the functions of the MLAs. The MLAs are the member of the legislative assembly of respective states and are responsible for discussing and voting on the matter relating to the states only. So they work and discuss about the problems of only that particular state in which they are selected or elected. Ministers. Some MLAs of the ruling party are selected as ministers of various departments by the chief minister of the respective states. So some MLAs are also selected as ministers of various departments or ministries by the chief minister of that particular state. Responsibility of a MLA. Member of legislative assembly is the only responsible for single constituency. Powers of member of legislative assembly. So, first power of MLA is the legislative power. The primary function of the legislative assembly is lawmaking. The MLA is responsible for lawmaking of that particular state. An MLA can exercise his legislative power on state list and the concurrent list. State list comes under the jurisdiction of state and in concurrent list the both state and center can act. The state list contains subjects of importance to individual state alone, such as trade, commerce, development, irrigation, and agriculture, while the concurrent list contains items of importance to both union government and the state government, such as succession, marriage, education, adoption, forest, and so on. Although ideally only members of legislative assembly can legislate on the state list. So the MLA can only legislate the state list. The parliament can legislate on subjects in the state list while emergency has been imposed on the state. In addition to that, on the matters that are included in the concurrent list, the laws made by the parliament were prioritized over the laws made by the legislative assembly. If the president does not give his assent to the laws made by the legislative assembly. Although the members of legislative assembly are the highest law making organs of the state governments, their legislative powers are not absolute. So second is the financial powers. MLA also have some financial problems. I will discuss it. The legislative assembly holds absolute financial power in a state. As we have only know that MLAs are only like justify for their state only. A money bill can only originate in legislative assembly, and the members of legislative assembly must give consent for any of the expenses made from the state treasury. It must be noted that in the states they have a bicameral legislature. Both the legislative council and the Vidhan Parishad can pass the bill or suggest changes to the bill within 40 days or 14 days of its receipt, although the members are not bound to abide by the changes suggested. All the grants and tax raising proposal must be authorized by the MLAs for them to be executed and implemented for the development of the state. So this is the financial power of an MLA. Next is executive power. The member of legislative assembly in each state exercise certain executive power. MLAs have some executive powers of that particular state in which they are elected in. They control the activities and action by the chief minister and the council of minister for their specific area for in which the MLAs are elected. They control the activities and actions of the chief minister and the council of ministers. A vote of no confidence can be passed only by a MLA in any state that, if passed by a majority, can force the ruling government to resign. Question are, cut motions and adjournment motion can be exercised by the member of legislative assembly in order to restrict the executive organ of state government machinery. So this is the executive power of an MLA. So next is the electoral power of an MLA. The member of the legislative assembly have certain electoral powers. First one is the elected member of the legislative assembly comprise the electoral college that elects the president of India. So they have a part, or they take part in electing the president of India. MLAs elect the members of Rajya Sabha who represent a particular state. The Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Legislative Assembly are also elected by the MLAs. In state with bilateral legislative, one third of the members of legislative councils are elected by the MLAs. So next is the constituent and miscellaneous powers of an MLA. Some some parts of the Constitution of India that relate to federal provisions can be amended by ratification by one half of the members of legislative assembly. So the member of the legislative assembly has the power to amend the constitution. MLA review reports of the Public Service Commission and the Accountant General. MLAs appoint the various committees to the House. So next is the role of member of Legislative Assembly. An MLA may be required to fulfill as many as 4 distinct roles. The first role is the role of legislator. The role of legislator involves understanding the spirit of existing law. So they basically understand the spirit, what kind of spirit the existing law have, planning new laws and studying, discussing and then supporting or opposing the enactment of new laws. As a representative of his or her constituency, a member may voice concerns on behalf of constituents, represent viewpoints, or intercede and assist in problem solving of that particular state. An MLA is also a member of an elected party caucus. In this function, he or she may be involved in planning or orchestrating strategy in the House, supporting the caucus and its decision, and developing expertise in the given subject. Fourth one is, depending on his her political fortunes, the MLA may serve as cabinet minister or the opposition critic. So next is the member of parliament. Member of parliament is a person who is elected by the people in more number of constituencies in the same district of the state. MP is a part of the central government of India. The parliament is divided into two houses, as we all know that, namely Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The MP is a member of any one of the house, either the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. The MP who is a member of the Lok Sabha is directly elected by the people of the district in the state, whereas the MP who is a member of Rajya Sabha is selected by the MLAs of the state governments in the country. As we have discussed earlier, the MPs can be elected, or MPs elect the member of the Rajya Sabha. Some MPs of the ruling party are given minister powers and various aspects like finance ministry, health ministry, IT ministry, etc. So what are the functions of the MP? The MP are the members of parliament and responsible for discussing and voting on the matters relating to the whole country. Uh, I I already told you about the MLAs, that MLA only take action for their particular or respective state, but an MP work and take action for the whole country. Ministers, some MP of the ruling party are elected selected as minister of various departments by the Prime Minister of India. Responsibilities. Member of Parliament is usually responsible for 7 to 9 constituencies in that district. What are the powers of Member of Parliament? First one is legislative power. For making law for governance of our country. An MP participates in the discussion of a bill and suggest amendments to the government bill. So they take part in the discussions of a bill and suggest the amendments for that particular government bill. Separately, any MP who is a non-minister can also propose legislative changes to the government through private members' bill. An MP also participate in voting for amending the Constitution of India. The legislative matters on issues such as creation of state legislative councils to increase or decrease area of boundaries of a state, the change of the name of the state and union territory, regulation of the organization and jurisdiction of the Supreme Courts and the High Courts, and allot one High Court to two or more states, etc., are also discussed by the MPs in their respective houses. An MP also participate in the process for impeachment of the president, removal of the vice president or the judges of High Court or the Supreme Court. Second power is the delegated legislation. It comes under the legislative power of the MP. Delegated legislation. Once a bill is signed into a law, the powers to make detailed rule and regulation within its framework rest with the executive. An MP's role is to keep a check on executive overreach. So they keep check on the executive overreach and ensure that the powers of the delegated legislation are not abused by the government. For example, Rajya Sabha MP P. Rajiv raised objections to the IT rules drafted by the government in 2011. Supervisory role, which is the second power of an MP. The MP exercise control over the executive through parliamentary interventions. So MLA can also intervene in any bill or any government action, as question are calling attention motion, adjournment motion, no confidence motion, censor motion, and other discussion. If an MP is feeling that the government has some actions which are not justified, so they can intervene in their work. MP also supervise the executive by participating in committees like public accounts, estimates, public undertakings, and various other department related standing and ad hoc committees. For example, it's like I am a part of the standing committee on public undertaking, consultative committee for the Ministry of Finance, and parliamentary standing committee on home affairs, and I participate in debate on issue pertaining to these committee and vote. So it's basically a vote electoral role. An MP in the election of president and the vice president. On this other one hand, a Lok Sabha MP elects the Speaker of the House and the Deputy Speaker. So they have a power to elect the Speaker of the House and the Deputy Speaker. On the other hand, a Rajya Sabha MP elects the Vice Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Power of the purse. No tax can be levied and no expenditure incurred by the government except the approval of the Parliament. The budget is therefore represented to the Parliament. Parliamentary control over executive in matters of finance. First is budgetary control and second is post budgetary control. The fourth power is representative responsibility. Every MP is the house of his or constituency. Every MP has to raise issues of his constituency in parliament through questions, debates, and etc. An MP of his constituency in parliament raises voice and problems of people of that particular constituency. An MP can also play a role in implementing projects in his or her constituency by following upon projects at the level of district collectorate or at the state government and the central government. From 1993, MPs have also given the responsibility to recommend projects in their constituency to the district collector. A separate scheme called the Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, which allots 5 crore rupees per MP per year. Earlier 2 crores, revised in 1998, was instituted in 1993. So under this scheme, the government allocates 5 crore rupees per MP per year for the development of that particular constituency. They are detailed guidelines which specify the nature of projects for which this fund can be utilized. Even in case of MP lads, an MP only has powers of recommendation of projects. MP can only recommend the project which should be take place. However, the onus of the implementation and sanction lies with the district collector. The new government has also assigned a responsibility to every MP to develop model villages in his or constituency under the Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. Although no new funds have been allocated under this scheme, the MPs are required to take efforts to leverage funds from different schemes of the state and central government and channelize them to develop the model village. So, the new government has made it a policy or made it mandatory for the MPs to make a model village or to develop that village into a model village or a modern town. Next is permissible items under this scheme of the MP lads. Social welfare is the first permissible item. A purchase of tricycles, motorized, battery operated wheelchairs, artificial limbs, etc. for physically challenged individuals. The item purchased will be given to the beneficiaries at the public function. All application for such assistance shall be examined and approved by a committee under Chief Medical Officer of the district to ensure proper eligibility. Second is health. Purchase of ambulances, here's van, district magistrate, chief medical officer would be responsible for ownership and management of the ambulance. So these are the items which comes under this scheme of the ambulance, for which for basically this items the fund is given to the MP. Health. Second is the purchase of ambulances, vehicles to transport sick or injured animals in wildlife sanctuaries and national park. The wildlife sanctuary, national park concerned would be responsible for ownership and management of ambulances. Third is education. So computers, the purchase of computer software along with the training for government and government aided institutions. Second is mobile library for educational institution belonging to state, center, union territory or the local government. Third one is furniture. Up to 50 lakh for primary and secondary government and government aided schools. Purchase of books for school, colleges, public library within a limit of 22 lakhs per year. Purchase of vehicles including the bus, school buses, vans, etc. Fifth one is the infrastructure. Retrofitting of public buildings, government schools, government hospitals, shelter houses, heritage buildings. Provision of solar light in the public places, provision of biodigesters in the public places. So these are the items which should be done under this MP Act scheme. And last one is the centrally sponsored schemes. Utilization of MPLAD's fund to augment central share and state share of the implementation of a centrally sponsored scheme. For example, schemes such as National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, Panchayat Yuva Kendra Abhiyan, and Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, etc. Second is this would cover all scheme provided assets for individual or the family use. Third is the MP cannot change or add the beneficiary list under this scheme. The implementation would be as per the guidelines of this scheme. MP shouldn't use this fund for his personal use. It should be done for the proper development of that particular area. Thank you everyone for viewing this video. I hope you get a lot of idea about the powers and functions of the Member of Parliament and Member of State.